Welcome to the Deep Dive. Now, if you're listening, you probably already know that the first weekend of October in Madison, Wisconsin, well, it isn't just another livestock show.
No, definitely not. It's the peak, the absolute undisputed Super Bowl of the competitive dairy world.
Exactly. This is where genetics get showcased, where careers, take off, legacies are cemented, and really the roadmap for the next few years gets laid out right there on those famous colored shavings.
And World Dairy Expo 2025, this year, it really delivered. I mean, the sources we looked at, they describe an atmosphere that was just electric. Pure chaos and excitement. You hear stories about roan farmers actually crying.
Wow.
Yeah, it was more than just a show. It felt like a real collision, Dynasties, new bloodlines, big strategies all coming together.
Okay, so our mission today really is to give you a shortcut. You didn't have to be there for 6 intense days at the Alliant Energy Center, but you definitely need the takeaways, the genetic shifts, the business lessons from that final day drama.
Right. We're boiling it down so you can hopefully take these insights and, think about how they apply back on your own operation pretty much right away.
And if we're doing a deep dive, we absolutely have to start with the main event. The thing that stopped Madison cold, honestly, sent ripples, really, through the whole global dairy scene.
The big one?
The reigning legend, the queen, Stony Point Joel Bailey, she was dethroned.
That's the headline, isn't it? And you can't really grasp how big of an upset this was without understanding Bailey's, her reign. She wasn't just a cow. She was almost mythology walking onto those shavings.
Yeah, she was a powerhouse.
Yeah.
For years. She took the Supreme Champion title back in 2024.
And that itself was huge. Remember, she was the first Jersey Supreme Champion since, 2016? That's an 8-year gap.
Yeah.
It really shows you how tough it is for the, let's say, the smaller breeds to compete against the scale of the Holsteins sometimes.
And just earlier that week, she'd done it again. Clinched her 3rd consecutive Grand Champion Jersey title.
3 years in a row in the Jersey breed, which is incredibly competitive globally. Her handler, Nathan Thomas, he even said she'd kind of moved beyond being just a champion of her time. She was like an institution.
Yeah, she really represented the best of the jerseys, but also that consistency, right? Proven performance over multiple years. When she walked into that Supreme ring,
you could feel it. The sources suggest the feeling was just, she's untouchable. Like, the crowd was almost expecting a coronation, another win, cementing her as maybe one of the greatest Expo champions ever.
Yeah. History had other plans. And interestingly, a 5-year-old cow of a, let's say, unexpected color.
This is where it gets really fascinating. The new Supreme Champion, Golden Oaks Temptres-Red-ET, a red and white. An unstoppable daughter.
The reaction must have been something.
Oh, it was seismic. Apparently, when they announced Temptres-Red-ET as Supreme beating Bailey, the roar from the crowd wasn't just happy. It felt like validation, like proof that top-tier type and quality can just smash through breed lines, color perceptions, everything, right there on the biggest stage.
A red and white taking the overall Supreme. That's a statement.
It's a massive statement. It says a lot about where genetics are heading right now.
And you mentioned strategy. This wasn't just a random occurrence, right?
Not at all. This was the culmination of, believe it or not, a 3-year plan by the ownership group. That's Milk Source, Fisher, Steincrest, and Crescent Mead. They didn't just stumble into this. It was, focused breeding, careful management, showing strategy, all leading to that ultimate prize.
3 years of planning.
And think about this, what makes it even more impressive for Temptres-Red-ET? She also had to beat the Holstein Grand Champion.
Ah, right, who was reserve Supreme.
Exactly. Love Hill sidekick Candy Cane. So to win Supreme, you're literally up against the absolute best example of type from every single major dairy breed. The fact that this red and white cow rose above all of them, that, I think, is maybe the most significant genetic takeaway from Madison this year.
Okay, let's dig into that implication. We know Unstoppable is a popular sire line, but why is a red and white, specifically winning Supreme, such a big deal for the industry, for the listeners?
Well, it fundamentally resets market perceptions, doesn't it? For a long time, the biggest premiums, the most intense genetic chase, was often focused on the black and white Holsteins, and then, the jerseys like Bailey represented.
Right.
Temptres-Red-ET winning Supreme just instantly validates the quality potential within red and white genetics, especially that unstoppable influence. They're known for power, function, amazing udders. It proves the judges are prioritizing that functional excellence, and it can compete no matter the color.
So type trumps color, basically.
In this case, absolutely. You can probably expect to see, immediate interest and maybe upward pressure on unstoppable genetics now, red or black, just because of this massive validation in Madison.
The market definitely watches Madison. And when a ceiling like that gets broken, the money tends to follow, right? It's a real signal for where future breeding investments might go.
Exactly, a bellwether moment.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. We've got this huge dynasty-changing upset. Now let's look at two really different paths to success that week. Equally successful, but totally different approaches.
Yeah, this is a great contrast. We should talk about let's call her the validated contender, and then the sheer scale of a global empire, and pit that against, well, the perfect underdog story.
Let's start with the Holstein Grand Champion, Love Hill sidekick Candy Cane. She ended up reserve Supreme Champion right behind Temptres-Red-ET.
That's right. She represents the absolute peak of the Holstein breed, the world's largest dairy breed population. A huge win for the Lamb family from Oakfield, New York. She's a 5-year-old sidekick daughter, and her win there, it just validates years of their hard work.
And Candy Cane, she wasn't exactly a surprise, was she? She came into Madison with serious momentum.
Oh, definitely not a surprise. The sources tracked her wins earlier in the year. She dominated the Eastern Fall National, the Northeast Spring National. Madison was kind of the ultimate confirmation. It proved she wasn't just great in her region, she was genuinely world-class.
And the sidekick sire line itself, that's significant too, isn't it?
Very significant. Sidekick is really valued for transmitting that incredible structural correctness, amazing feet and legs, great udder texture, all things you need for longevity, but also absolutely essential for winning on a type stage like Madison.
Right.
I mean, to win Grand Champion Holstein against, 467 other animals, you have to be practically fault-free in your type. Candy Cane clearly delivered that.
So that's the proven contender path. Now let's talk about the Empire. Butlerview Farm. They took home the Premier Exhibitor banner. And that's not just about one cow, is it?
No, Premier Exhibitor is about comprehensive dominance. It speaks to the depth of quality across their entire string. And Butlerview's operation is, well, it's kind of mind-boggling.
Their success was layered, right? They had the Intermediate Champion and Reserve Grand Champion Holstein, West Edda Lambda Sadie.
Correct. And that Lambda influence is highly sought after right now. Very modern, refined type. But the real story with Butlerview is the sheer scale behind those wins.
Okay, unpack that scale. You mentioned global reach. What does that actually look like?
We're talking owner Mike Dver operating internationally. His team, their genetic pool, it spans 3 or 4 different countries. This isn't just hitting a few local sales.
Right.
It's intense global collaboration, scouting genetics worldwide, managing logistics across continents. Dver mentioned flying over 400,000 miles in just 3 years, basically scouting cattle.
400,000 miles. Wow.
Yeah. That level of investment, it spreads risk, gives them access to the absolute deepest, most diverse elite genetics out there. It lets them build a truly comprehensive breeding program.
Sounds complex, but obviously effective. They pulled off something pretty rare, didn't they? First, second, and third in one class?
That was the 2-year-old class. And yes, winning first, second, and third in a single class at World Dairy Expo.
Yeah.
It's almost unheard of. It's the ultimate signal of dominance.
What does that tell you specifically?
It tells you they have profound depth in their key cow families. It shows incredible consistency in their breeding philosophy and management. They aren't just relying on one superstar animal. They have whole strings of cattle that can compete at the very highest level. They really represent that model of like industrialized elite genetics on a global scale.
Okay, so that's the Empire. Now, the complete flip side. The story that probably resonates with a lot of listeners who aren't operating with quite that budget. Ronald Grandy.
Ah, yes. Grandy from Beaverton, Ontario. He showed up with about the smallest string you could imagine for someone making a real impact, just 4 animals.
Only 4.
And he went 4 for 4. A perfect record in the classes he entered. Every animal he brought won its class.
4 for 4. That's efficiency and the highlight.
The absolute highlight was Echo Glen Master Ivy. She's a winter yearling Holstein, and she was crowned Supreme Champion Heifer of the entire show.
Supreme Champion Heifer with one of only 4 animals brought. That's incredible.
And Grandy's reaction, it was apparently very emotional, speechless, saying he never thought it would happen, just on a big high. But here's the key detail for listeners, the really interesting part. How did he get Ivy?
Okay.
He bought her in March, just a few months before the show at a Clark Valley sale.
March. So you've got Butlerview with this massive global machine built over years.
Decades, really. Immense resources, deep cow families.
And then you have Grandy, winning the biggest heifer prize with surgical precision, buying one animal just months earlier. What's the takeaway there for, the average producer trying to balance their budget with wanting top genetics?
Grandy's story is just the ultimate proof that smart genetic investment can still absolutely triumph over sheer volume or budget size. It tells every listener that, yeah, the global empires are powerful, but there's still immense value in just having an eye for the right animal.
Spotting the potential.
Exactly. Grandy saw the potential in IV, the genetics, the physical makeup at a regional sale back in March. And then, crucially, he and his team managed her perfectly in those intervening months to bring out that potential.
So it proves you don't need to fly 400,000 miles necessarily.
Maybe you just need to find the right animal at the right time, closer to home. If replacement heifers are costing, say, $3,000 to $4,000 on average, that's a big investment. It has to pay off.
Right.
Grandy's win just confirms that making a targeted buy of superior genetics, if you manage it impeccably, can still go head-to-head with the giants, and sometimes win. It's a really powerful message for that small or mid-sized farm. Precision breeding, smart buying, it can genuinely change your farm's future. It validates spending carefully on the right potential.
Okay, let's shift from the winners for a moment and talk about the judge. The person who had to sort through all this incredible quality, Aaron Eaton. That must have been an immense task.
Oh, unbelievable. A feat of concentration, endurance. Judge Eaton handled 468 Holsteins in just 2 days. Yeah, think about the mental focus required, the physical stamina needed to maintain that level of scrutiny, stay objective for hours on end. The sources mentioned that in some classes, like the junior 3-year-olds, the quality was running like 20 deep, just phenomenal depth.
And there was one class in particular that really highlights the intensity, right? The winter calf class.
That class alone had 61 head in it. 61 winter calves, and it took Judge Eaton a full 90 minutes just to evaluate and place them.
An hour and a half for one class.
Yeah, and think about it, trying to sort 61 young, highly competitive animals, it shows the extreme depth of quality out there in Holsteins right now. And the challenge for the judge isn't just finding the winner, it's finding those tiny differences that separate, say, the 5th place animal from the 10th. It demands absolute consistency in what you're looking for, udder, structure, how they move.
And all that focus, all that pressure, it led to a really poignant moment, didn't it? Something Judge Eaton himself said choked him up. The longevity moment.
Ah, yes. The 16-year-old cow. She walked into the ring, still looking competitive, still proud. And the entire Coliseum gave her a standing ovation.
Just incredible. And she wasn't just old. She had produced, 11 calves?
11 calves. That's the stat that really hits home.
A 16-year-old cow, 11 calves, still walking proudly at World Dairy Expo. Judge Eaton talked about the dedication behind that. It takes so much time and patience and dedication. Let's unpack that. What does that moment really say about the industry's core values versus maybe some of the modern economic pressures?
Well, it's a really important counterpoint, isn't it? Especially when you consider how fast genetics are changing. We know from the source material that genomic testing is accelerating genetic progress incredibly fast, like 87.5% faster than just back in 2010.
Wow, 87.5% faster.
Yeah, and that speed, it often pushes producers towards faster turnover. Cull quicker, bring in the next high genomic heifer.
So the economic pressure is often to replace, maybe even before a cow reaches peak lifetime production.
Often, yes. But that standing ovation for the 16-year-old cow with 11 calves, it shows you where the heart of the industry, or at least the ideal, still lies. It's with persistence, with lifetime profitability.
Right.
An animal that gives you 11 lactations, that's phenomenal lifetime production value, or LPV. And LPV sometimes gets overlooked when everyone's chasing the short-term genomic index value, the GIV.
Good point.
That 16-year-old cow, she embodies the ideal. She must have incredible structural soundness, persistent fertility, the ability to keep producing year after year. It's such a powerful emotional reminder that breeding for soundness, for longevity, that's often the real key to long-term stability on the farm.
It really grounds the whole spectacle, doesn't it? Even while you have the BUTLERVIEW'S chasing cutting-edge global genetics, Madison pulls everyone back to that fundamental truth. Patience, dedication to good type, that's what builds enduring value.
And that dedication, that commitment, it flows right into the next generation, doesn't
Yeah.
it? The torchbearers. We saw that clearly in the junior show.
Yeah, the junior show is always a highlight, always emotional. But this year, when Lucky Merjack Asalia won Supreme Champion, the reaction from the Schmacher sisters, Tessa and Stella, just jumping into each other's arms, pure joy.
That kind of raw emotion, it tells you about the sacrifice involved. The sources mention, years of 5:45 a.m. wake-up calls, missing school dances, things like that. These aren't just kids having fun with cows. They're essentially running small businesses already. They're showing the commitment level you need to be a future leader in this industry. They really earn those moments.
And what struck me about the Schmacher sisters' win was the kind of cow they won with. Their Supreme Champion was a lifetime production cow.
Yes, that choice is so telling. It really reveals the values being instilled in this next generation. They could have gone for a flashy heifer, maybe something with sky-high index numbers, but they chose to champion a cow known for sustained production over many years.
So that core wisdom, that lifetime quality equals profitability, it's getting passed down.
It seems so. They're focused on sustainability, on building for the future, not just chasing a quick ribbon, which is really encouraging to see.
And we saw that family focus again with the Reserve Supreme, right?
Right.
Toplin wishful thinking ET, shown by the top siblings, Tanner, Brennan, Marissa, and Logan. That group hug photo said it all, family effort.
Absolutely. Success at this level, it's so often tied to that multi-generational support and commitment. It takes a village or at least a dedicated family.
And speaking of lifetime commitment and dedication, those core values were really honored formally later in the week with the Klusendorf Award.
Ah, the 83rd Klusendorf, a huge honor in the industry, recognizing not just skill, but character, sportsmanship, dedication over a lifetime.
And this year it went to Clark Woodmansey. 40 years in the business, partnerships with legendary cows like Hazel. That's a serious legacy built on unwavering commitment.
And Woodmansey delivered maybe the quote of the week, something that should probably be, like you said, taped up in every barn. He said, it's a 365-day deal. It's simple, but profound. Everyone in that Coliseum, whether they owned a global empire or were a small strategic buyer like Grandy, they knew exactly what he meant.
Totally resonates. It's the universal truth of doing dairy farming at a high level, isn't it?
Let's really break that down for the listener. It's a 365-day deal. Everyone knows farming is every day, but in the context of winning at Madison, what's the deeper layer there?
I think it speaks to relentless consistency, absolute discipline. The success you see under the lights in Madison, that's just the tiny tip of the iceberg. It's the result of meticulous, nonstop effort happening all year round.
Right.
It means hitting those nutrition targets perfectly every single day. Constant health monitoring, catching issues early, patiently training animals from the time they're calves, and maybe most crucially, continuous genetic evaluation. Always thinking about the next generation every single day.
You can't just cram for World Dairy Expo in September. Exactly. It's the complete opposite of a quick fix or luck. Woodmansey's quote, it brings all the glamour back down to earth. It reminds everyone listening that the Supreme Champion cow, she's built through the quiet, sometimes mundane, hard work back in the barn when nobody's watching.
It's the daily grind.
It's the discipline of keeping good records, the commitment to things like hoof health, the patience to let an animal mature properly over years, that relentless day-in, day-out consistency. That's what really makes a champion.
Yeah, consistency truly is the backbone. Okay, let's bring it all together now. Let's pivot right back to you, the listener. All these results, the drama, the emotions from World Dairy Expo 2025. Why does this actually matter to your operation, maybe miles away from Madison?
Well, first and foremost, Madison sets the direction for the market. It defines what genetics are hot, what traits are being prioritized. We saw clearly 3 major genetic trends confirmed or boosted.
Okay, what were they?
1, the red and white breakthrough with Temptres-Red-ET. 2, the continued dominance of functionally correct lines like Sidekick, shown by Candy Cane. And 3, the success of refined modern type seen through lines like Lambda, which BUTLERVIEW showcase.
And these winners?
These winners, they immediately influence demand and pricing for semen, embryos, and elite breeding stock. If you're selling genetics, you need to know that the bar for red and white excellence just got significantly higher. They command new respect, potentially new premiums.
The market reacts fast.
Yeah.
Madison is like the stock market ticker for dairy genetics.
Pretty much. Second big takeaway, investment justification.
Yeah.
Look at Ronald Grandy's perfect run.
Right, the 4-for-4 guy.
With replacement heifers costing what they do and pressure to improve quickly, every dollar you spend on genetics has to count. Grandy proved that being a smart strategic buyer spotting potential and managing it perfectly can yield massive returns. It shows that targeted investment can compete with huge budgets. It's the blueprint for making your genetic dollars work smarter.
Makes sense. And the third point?
Comes back to that 16-year-old cow, that standing ovation.
Longevity.
Exactly. It reinforces the value of the long game. Even with genomics pushing for rapid turnover, the ultimate admiration, the deepest respect, goes to the animal that delivers profitability year after year through soundness and fertility. If your goal is true, long-term economic stability on your farm, you have to keep prioritizing those structural traits that let a cow reach that kind of age and lifetime production. That LPV often outweighs short-term genomic gains.
So genetics, smart investment, and valuing longevity. Those are the core takeaways.
I think so. And underlying it all was the sense of community, too. The sources mention how even fierce competitors ended up hugging, celebrating together afterwards.
Yeah, it wasn't just about winning, but about the industry itself.
It felt like a celebration of progress, of evolution. You saw the supreme torch pass from Bailey, the established Jersey legend, who still had an incredible run to Temptres-Red-ET, this powerful modern red and white.
Yeah.
It symbolizes that constant drive to breed a better cow, more efficient, more sound, more profitable.
World Dairy Expo 2025 definitely made some legends, validated different ways to succeed, and absolutely set the genetic trends we'll be watching for the next few years. It really does set the pace.
And it grounded everyone again with that fundamental truth from Clark Woodmansey. It's a 365-day deal. No shortcuts to the top.
So why does Madison really matter to you, the producer listening right now? Focus on your own farm, your own bottom line.
It matters because the genetics that win on those colored shavings today, the daughters of sires like Sidekick, Lambda, Unstoppable, those are the genetics that will be influencing your milk check, your herd's performance, your benchmarks come 2030.
What happens in Madison doesn't stay in Madison.
Not at all. The decisions made in that ring directly shape the future productivity and profitability potential for the entire industry.
Which brings us to the final question for you, the listener, to think about today as you head back to the barn or the office.
Based on everything we saw play out in Madison, the rise of elite red and white genetics, the proof that smart, smaller-scale investment works, the deep appreciation for longevity. Are you currently setting up your breeding program based on yesterday's champions? Or are you strategically breeding for tomorrow's milk check?
Something important to consider as you plan those next meetings. Thanks for going on this deep dive with us.